Take one.
I am from Chicago, Illinois. Chi-town, baby. I think anytime you get a chance to talk about your trauma and tell your story, you can affect, the entire world. So anytime that I can help somebody go through the stuff that I went through or get through it, I'm gonna do it. December 5th, I'm working at the airport and my stomach started hurting real bad. It gets to the point that I can't move. At that time, I'm 24 weeks pregnant. So told the doctors what I was experiencing, real bad pains in my stomach. The doctor kind of felt on me a little bit and said, we're gonna send you home. It's probably because of the pregnancy. You may have like a flu symptoms or something like that. So we'll send you home and just keep drinking a lot of fluids. So not even a full 24 hours later, I'm asleep and I get woken up in the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. Get rushed back to the same emergency room, same doctor. He run a few more tests like my blood and stuff like that. He then tells me I have a viral infection and that I can't take any medication. I did ask if I can do more like an x-ray or something, but they said because of the baby, they didn't want to. They just kept asking me on a scale of 1 to 10, what was my pain tolerance? It was really a 10, but I think I may have said a 7 or 8. But either way, you can noticeably see that I was in pain. And as a pregnant woman, I just felt like they should have done more for me, but they didn't. They sent me back home. I finished out that week at home. I can't keep anything down. I'm just drinking a lot of water, but I can barely keep that down. Heading into my 25th week of pregnancy, I'm getting these sharp pains to my stomach. So that following Monday, I call my OB office and the nurse tells me that the OB was not available. So to call back on that Friday. By that Thursday, I was in so much pain and I could barely walk. So my friend rushed me back to the same hospital where my OB met me there. And she took a look at me and said, something's wrong. So they ran a few tests and realized that my appendix had ruptured and that it had pretty much built a rim around itself to protect it. And the reason why I was in so much pain is because it pushed my diaphragm up into my lungs and my lungs collapsed and I had caught pneumonia. So once they admitted me to the hospital, maybe an hour later, I had already started becoming septic, which means pretty much that my blood was infected with the ruptured appendix. My temperature dropped down to about 93 degrees. My white blood cells was in the 30,000, 35,000 count, and I was dying. So I can't remember much after that. I just remember waking up in ICU and the same doctor who sent me home those 2 times was like, man, we almost lost you. And that was pretty much all he could say. A few days later, I head from ICU to high-risk pregnancies, where that night my water burst. And they brought a chaplain in to tell me essentially, hey, at 25 weeks, your son's probably not going to make it. You have 2 options. You could do a C-section, but that'll kill you. Or you can have him naturally and it'll kill him. Those are your options. And then they said they wanted to keep me on bed rest for another few weeks, up until my 30th week, then to give birth to him. My son was breached at the time, so his feet were hanging out my cervix the entire time, which is why they didn't want me to put too much stress on my body. The next day, my OB came in and was telling me, what they were planning to do. And I just asked her, I said, can you be real with me? Am I going to make it to 30 weeks? And she said, I give you about a week. And a week and a day later, started having contractions, went to deliver my son, and he passed away during the birth, right where he was at the head. So essentially, the doctor who sent me home twice came after my son passed away just to kind of give his condolences. And I just remember being extremely angry at him because he didn't hear me. And I didn't understand that before, how many Black women have had lost their children or lost their lives in the hands of doctors who were not their color because they were not heard or understood or not taken seriously enough. And due to that, I lost my kid. Black means universal. We're everything. It starts with us and it ends with us. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I think the positives of being Black is there's no one like us. I do believe we are the chosen people, just based on physical, genetics, mental, spiritual. It's no one like us. The bad is we're born into trauma. It comes from our ancestors. We're born into cultural trauma. On top of what you're about to deal with for the rest of your life, you're still dealing with what's happened that you had no choices over. That's the bad. The ugly is, I don't know if it'll ever stop. We can keep talking about it. We can keep, begging and pleading for equality and understanding, but I don't think they want to understand us, so they won't. Since the passing of my kid, I have now become a stand-up comedian. About 5 years after he passed, I had a friend tell me that I should take my chance of doing stand-up. I did it one time and I ain't looked back, so I get to make people laugh for a living now. My son at the time, I had him cremated once he passed, and I had his urn on top of like a dresser or something. So my friend came over and my 1-year-old godson was just running around the house going crazy. She said, I can never get that boy to sit down. And I looked at my son's urn. I said, I can't get him to move. She didn't like that. I thought it was funny, but that's not. My friends don't like DBJs, dead baby jokes. Gave a name in and everything. It would look like I'd be celebrating my son's 10th birthday this year. Don't take no for an answer. Go with your intuition. Find someone that look like you and that understands you to be your advocate, but do not leave that hospital. If I was given, it would be a strong fuck you. But if I knew he would actually listen, I would tell him, just because we don't look like you don't mean we don't believe like you. Listen, what would you do if that was your mother? What would you do that if that was your daughter? Treat the people in front of you like they're your family and listen to them. And go the extra mile every time. Not just because that's your job, but that's what decent human beings do. Go over and beyond, especially for women carrying life. Because you don't get that time back. And you don't get your kid back either.